For today I thought I would talk to you about my bike. This is my bike right here, which I discussed in a previous video. Just a little bit, just nudged it. And it's like a typical beach cruiser thing, which I bought, which didn't cost too much, and then I added this super compact power basket loading thing here, which just connects around pretty easily, and also when you turn the wheel, or like you'll notice that the loading basket or shelf thing here, it's connected to the frame, so it doesn't move when you move the wheel. The thing is that I've been thinking about like modifying this bike, because I don't know much about, like, you know, custom bike stuff. I don't know a lot about bikes at all, actually, but I'm really interested in like making custom like cruisers and stuff. And I thought I would show you a second bike, which I bought before the one I have now, which is in here. Let's see if I can get the light going. Here we go. Okay, so this is my old bike, and you might argue that this looks a lot cooler than the black one, but like I said, I bought this quite a long time ago now, and it's basically made up of the same original frame. However, I spray painted this orange using like a car spray paint thing, and it took hours and was one of the worst choices I've made, you know, using spray paint, you know, like typical spray cans to spray this, and the quality was kind of so. You can notice that it's kind of gotten damaged over the years, and a lot of the paint has sort of come off. But I like the look of it. I mean, the problem is that I don't use it anymore at all, for a number of reasons. First off, you can see, I mean, it's really not as good as it looks in terms of quality. Like these, like the fenders here, everything is sort of very experimental, and got like this is all like custom stuff that I just put together, the stuff that I had at home, and you know, everything's sort of hand done. Oh, and here's some battle scars. One of the things I like about this design is that I've put like the long fenders on both the front and the back wheel, so that's actually a fender that's supposed to go on the back wheel, but I like bought two and put one there because I think it looks really cool with these sort of long fenders for the front wheel. But the problem was that I didn't have a good you know, I didn't have the parts to mount the front fender on here, and the problem was that originally I had a super long fender which went like all the way from down here and like to the front, like down here or something, and that was, you know, it looked totally awesome, but the problem was that I hadn't really mounted it too good. I remember there was this big hole like in the road, in the asphalt, just like a pothole, you know, and you know, I estimated that it wasn't particularly deep, but it seemed it was just a bit too deep. So when I went down in that hole with the front wheel, the fender got snagged like way on the front down here, and then that made this just pull down and the whole fender just spun around, and this part ended up like right here under the front wheel, and I was like gliding on this fender, so that's why this is scraped up, because this was like under the wheel, and I was just going like for several meters before like I actually jumped off the bike, because it was just, I was totally scared that I would like fall and break my face or whatever. So I jumped off and landed on my feet, so no problem, but the bike was a bit damaged. Funny thing about the front fork, as you can see, this is actually a Springer fork, and if you know anything about like low riders, this is pretty common on them, or it's the trademark. This is however a 26-inch Springer fork, and the most common, the regular low riders use, I think it's 24-inch wheels, but I found this, and this was quite unusual. I think it was pretty new when I got this. So this is a 26-inch Springer fork, meaning that it wasn't really made for this frame, but it works, and it makes the bike. It makes it like it's like an odd lowrider cruiser hybrid, because it's not typically low, and it's like it's totally bastard to steer this thing, because when you get the front wheel this far to the front with like this lowrider thing, like the point of gravity or whatever is messed up. Trying to ride like this bike or riding a lowrider is pretty much like starting all over again in terms of balance and stuff, but you pretty much get the hang of it pretty soon. This handlebar is actually the original handlebar that came with this sort of beach cruiser bike, but I added like this old, typical bells that I found, sort of old style bells, and I put one on each side just for continuity or whatever. And these are just extra bar ends that I put on, and I put them on the wrong way, basically because I just thought it looked cool. The orange handlebars are not actually bike handlebars. I got this off like an old hedge trimmer that I got at a yard sale for like $4 maybe, or something at the most. The color is just perfect to match this, and I had already painted this, so it was like totally random. I just saw it and like, I gotta buy that fucking hedge trimmer. And the seat is also orange. It doesn't really match, but I had a hard time finding an orange seat, and this is something I got off eBay. I think it's an Italian seat or something, and it's not particularly nice to sit on. It looks padded, and it is a little bit, but it's still, my butt needs a comfy ride, and this is just, it's a bit too hard, so yeah. If I use this brake, that's just for emergencies, because it's like, when I break it, the whole thing just shakes and everything screeches and stuff, so and the whole thing's rusted, like the chain hasn't been washed or cleaned in thousands of years, and every time I ride this bike, it's like for fear of my life, because the chain keeps jumping off, and when the chain jumps off, I do have a brake here on the front, but that's also incredibly like crappy. I think this bike has like the longest from when you braked until it actually stopped, it like takes forever. Oh yeah, the fork which I mentioned earlier, the Springer fork is usually, this thing here is usually turned this way, which makes the fork, suspended through this Springer. So when it becomes even harder to steer the thing when it's suspended with the Springer thing. So what I did here was that I turned this the other way, and I like mounted it so this fork is actually a fixed fork. It's not suspended at all. But I still kept the spring here because I think it looks good, and yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Me talking about this bike, which I don't know what to do with.